host of Mick Unplugged podcast and the author of How to Be a Good Leader When You've Never Had One. Leadership expert Mick Hunt is here to join us on New York Living. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So lay it all out for us. What
Yes.
can we learn about leadership just by watching the Super Bowl?
You can learn a lot about adjustments. You can learn a lot about teamwork. And most importantly, from a coaching perspective, you can learn a lot about leadership in general. Yeah.
Obviously, the coach gets a lot of focus, gets a lot of credit. What can we learn from the way coaches lead their teams in the Super Bowl, and I would imagine throughout the playoffs and every other time, that we could put into practice in our day-to-day lives?
Systems and culture. You know, both teams have a system. They have a philosophy. They have a standard. And to me, that's what you're going to learn watching the game is you're going to see the Chiefs with the spread it out, the finesse type of offense, and the Eagles want to smash you in the mouth, right? But they have a system. That's how they got there. And from a leadership perspective, from a business perspective, it's the same thing. Companies that have a standard, right? The Steelers, the standard is the standard. The Packers, the standard is the standard, right? If your business has standards, then that's going to be the success that you're going to leave the legacy behind for.
I love that Mick got back to the Packers right there.
Yes, thank you.
He clearly knows how to win our hearts.
Yes, he brings it back full circle.
Yeah.
But do you also kind of, foster this winning mentality, a championship type mentality by watching a game like that?
Absolutely, right? Because in order to be a winner or to be a winning mentality, you have to first learn how to win.
Yeah.
Right? And both of these teams, right, this is their second time facing each other in a couple of years. They've established winning as a culture. And again, translating that to business. Put your teams in winning situations. Put them in situations where they can complete a project on time and then celebrate those things.
Let's talk about teamwork for a second here. Obviously, there's 11 players on each side of the ball during the game. The quarterbacks get a lot of focus. Your Saquon Barkley's get a lot of focus. But honestly, it is a team game. How do good leaders foster good teamwork?
Collaboration and communication, right? Like a lot of times we look at bad leaders or people that don't lead well or coach well because they keep everything up here. Right? You've got to be able to talk to your people and talk to your team. And so for me, the collaboration, the putting people together, the sharing the vision, focusing on the target at hand is critically important.
Yeah, but that's not something that you can just, let's walk in the door right now and I'm going to just decide I'm going to have this game plan. You really have to prep.
Absolutely.
For this, don't you? Can you kind of lay that out for us?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard Peyton Manning say, you've heard Patrick Mahomes with all the improvisation that he does, right? He's never thrown a pass he actually hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's critically important to understand that you don't see people that are just out there doing whatever it is that they want to do. They practice and they prepare and they execute. And so for me, that's what, again, leadership is about. It's having a plan, right?
Yeah.
It's talking about it. But then we have to put the actionable steps in to make it happen. And so if you're not prepared for obstacles, if you're not prepared for challenges, then you're going to stumble when you're out there.
Yeah, and you don't always get it right the first time around.
Correct. The lessons that you learn, right? And so one of my mentors, Damon John, always tells me, Mick, it's about the lessons that I learn. If I fail, I don't look at it as a failure. I look at it as what lesson did I learn and what can I correct? And in sports, you see it with film work, right? Like win, lose, or draw, Monday morning you're watching film. You're breaking down what did I do well, what did I do wrong, and what lessons am I learning? And I think for business leaders, understanding, take that project. What went well? What could we have executed better? And then how do we make this a standard of excellence for what we do moving forward?
I like it. I've used that phrase with both of my kids for a long time, which is you win or you learn.
That's right.
You don't lose. There is no losing.
That's
there's winning or there's learning. And it can be hard to be in that mindset, but I think that really speaks to the last thing I want to ask you about, which is resiliency. If everybody wants to have a season like, Kansas City or like Philadelphia. Nobody wants to have a season like the Giants or the Jets.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. But what do you do in the face of obstacles, in the face of lots of opportunities to learn? How do you demonstrate resiliency?
Yeah, it's simple. One of my pillars in my Mick factor is keep going, right? Like, don't stop. We all face adversity. When you're a business, you create a 3-year plan, a 90-day plan, or whatever. It never goes as smooth as it looks on paper. You're going to have obstacles, but keep going, right? When we look at success, the reason that the Chiefs and Eagles are here is because they kept pushing through.
Yeah.
They all had excuses, right? Like a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl, or several years ago in the Super Bowl, my Patriots lost to a backup quarterback, Nick Foles, right?
Yep.
The Eagles could have.
there for that game. Sorry.
The Eagles could have packed it in, right?
Yes.
But they didn't. They kept going. And so that's the thing for leaders. Keep pushing through. There's success on the other side.
Yeah. I think they were listening to Lombardi that winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
Only thing.
That's right.
All right, Mick.
That's right.
Thanks so much for coming
Thanks
in
for
and
having
giving us
me.
your advice.
You got it.